What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. I guess we're about halfway, a little over halfway through the month of May now. Quickly coming halfway to a halfway point, I guess, through the year. I wanted to make a video kind of showing you guys some of my favorite albums and releases thus far in 2017. Kind of want to get some feedback from you guys as to what you've been listening to mostly throughout the beginning of this year. Wanted to open your eyes, I guess, to some of these releases, maybe that you've overlooked or you just haven't had the time to check out yet. Maybe I can convince you to check them out, and hopefully you will like them as much as I do. I have dog hair all over me. I just noticed that, so I apologize for that. I also made me some cue cards for this video. Not something that I normally do, but I wanted to give these bands and these labels and just give these releases as a whole the justice that they deserve. I didn't want to be as much of a bumbling idiot as I normally am during these videos, so just want to kind of give you guys a heads up on that. I guess I'm just going to get right into it. This year, as I've heard people saying that they haven't been enjoying the releases coming out this year and so forth. And it seems like every year there's a different group of people saying that. I guess it all depends on what your personal preference is in the genres. Some years have stronger releases in certain genres than others. I just don't get the people saying that this year has been a weak year for metal so far. I've found so much just amazing material so far that has just kept my ears busy, and perhaps it's because I've used music so much so far as this year as a bit of an escape, I guess, from reality. I mean, but that I've found so much so far that I've just fallen in love with, and I guess this is me going to share what I found with you. First up, I have I'm going to come out and say also that this is my list of stuff that I've enjoyed so far. I'm only showing stuff that I already own on a physical format, so there are some releases that I'm either waiting on to come in the mail, or I just haven't had the chance or the money to purchase yet, because there are some strong albums that and potentially some album of the year contenders that I just haven't gotten my hands on yet. So unfortunately, they will not be on this list. Most notably, I know Immolation's newest release, Atonement. That is a phenomenal death metal release. Could possibly be the best death metal release of the year, hands down. So that won't be on this list, unfortunately. Nocturnal Mortem, their newest release, Verity, I believe is how you pronounce that. Fantastic release. Don't have a copy of that either, so that's not on. But anyway, just going to get into the stuff that I already own. First up, we have a Russian atmospheric black metal band that goes by the name Grima, and the name of this release is Tales of the Enchanted Lands. As I said, this is a atmospheric black metal two-man project. I have fallen in love with so much Russian metal in the past few years that it's ridiculous. I know this is an album that a lot of people have overlooked. For me, this is a very strong album of the year for classy metal. So look forward to this. I can honestly say that this will definitely be on my end of the year list. Will something come out that I enjoy more? We'll just have to wait and see. But it's atmospheric black metal, has a pagan black metal, almost folky vibe to it at times as well. But it's a absolutely phenomenal release. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do yourself a favor and do so. It's on, I believe you pronounce it Naturmach Productions out of Germany. I believe that's where that label is from. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize. And yeah, check that one out. That's Grima with Tales of the Enchanted Woods. Next up, we have some, I guess, experimental technical death metal. This is a band that I almost slept on. This is an Artificial Brain with Infrared Horizon. This is, like I said, this is a technical death metal out of New York. I almost didn't even check this out. I heard the people ranting and raving, and sometimes that almost turns me off to albums. But I did myself a favor and I have to give a thank you to Counterbeat, Patrick over at the Counterbeat channel, because if it hadn't been for his posts and him going on about artificial brain, I wouldn't have checked that out. So definitely amazing. It's like I said, experimental technical death metal, but the experimentation within that album definitely fits the vibe that they're going through, going for, should I say. Um, Amazing release. I'm almost at a loss for words for that. Definitely glad I took the time to check that out. It's on Profound Lore Records out of Canada. You can get that super cheap on for a new release on Bandcamp right now. I know I say I'll leave the links all the time for albums, and I never do. I would do my best for this video to leave links to each one of these albums, because I would love for you guys to check these out. Up next, I have another release off of Profound Lore Records. This is they've been described as a funeral doom band, funeral doom / death metal band. Funeral doom seems like a bit of a stretch at times for me for this band, but I could see it at other points. This is the newest release from the band Loss. I know I have a glare. This is Horizonless is the name of this album. This album technically hasn't even come out yet. It technically doesn't come out until the 19th. But I got my copy in the mail earlier this week, and it's been spinning. I actually took it out of the stereo to make this video. I am quickly finding myself just infatuated with this release. Not just because they're from my home state here in Tennessee, but that is an amazing release. Do yourself a favor. I'm going to say that throughout this video, but definitely if you haven't checked that out, if you haven't checked Loss out, check that band out. Go back and revisit some of their older material as well. You're definitely doing yourself a favor within doing that. Next up, we have another atmospheric black metal band. This album came out in January, and they lean more, I would say, to atmospheric black metal, but they have a melodic death metal approach at times within it. It's a very interesting material. This is a band that I've been listening to for quite a while now, and when I found out that they were coming out with the new release this year, I had to jump on that pre-order back in January. I think there were only 100 copies of this CD, so if you can still find one, you're definitely going to want to get on that as soon as possible. This is Frostreich with Join the Wind. Like I said, just atmospheric black metal. This band is out of Germany. I am not going to attempt to pronounce the label that they're on, because I will butcher that horribly. But like I said, atmospheric black / melodic death out of Germany. Check it out. Next up, we have November's Doom, the Chicago Death Doomsters. This is their newest release on The End Records. This is one that during some hard times within the past month or so, this one has really hit the spot for me. If you're into Death Doom, you know. If you're into metal, you probably have heard of November's Doom. They're a band that I kind of overlooked for a very long time. I really didn't start really getting into November's Doom until maybe the beginning of this year, the end of 2016. The band just finally started, I guess you could say, to click for me, and that album, Hamartia, I believe is how you pronounce that, their newest release, just phenomenal. It has at times some My Dying Bride worship. I don't want to say worship, I guess similarities. Yeah, check it out. That's all I could say. Check it out. Next up, we have one that I probably never would have listened to had it not been for the Metalhead box. So I definitely have to give you a thank you, Metalhead box, for throwing this in the last box that I got. And I just checked this out earlier this week, and I was pretty much blown away listening to this. I know Black Metal Rebellion had told me that this was probably his favorite release so far this year. I checked it out. I could see why, because it's such a strong release. This is a black metal out of Norway, so I mean, you know, Norwegian black metal is a mainstay in the black metal scene. This is a Dodsritual with Undersort Saw. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This is almost a ritualistic black metal at times. I guess that goes with the name Dodsritual. I believe this is their first release, at least under that name, under the banner Dodsritual. It is their first release. It is on a black market metal label, which I was not super familiar with. I'd seen the advertisements across Facebook, but I never checked out anything from that label until this Metalhead box, this I guess edition of the Metalhead box had come out. So I'm definitely impressed with black market so far. Looking forward to some more of their releases in the future. Definitely enjoying this. Super impressive black metal. It has a throwback to that old Norwegian black metal style, and then it has like the chanting ritualistic stuff in it as well. Just a fantastic release. Next up we have, time to move my card here, we have Wormwood with Ghostlands, Wounds from a Bleeding Earth. This is some Swedish melodic black metal. It says it's been described, it's on non-Serbian records. It's been described as melodic black metal, but it has some doom elements in this as well. I don't know how well I showed that cover, but it's a pretty beautiful cover on that. This is their first full length. I believe they released an EP in 2015. I could be wrong on that, on the year. It might have been 2016, but I believe it was 2015. This is as a first full length, just a fantastic release. Like I said, it's described as melodic black metal. Has doom metal elements to this. It has even some folk infused in this as well. I know on metalstorm.net this album has got some rave reviews. If you've never checked out Metalstorm, it's a very heavy UK based website, but a lot of the reviews that I read for that album were pretty spot on, and that's actually what led me to check that album out, and I fell in love with it as well. So definitely a very strong. I'm positive you'll see this at the end of the year on my list as well. I'll definitely have to spend some more time with it, but I am enjoying everything that I've heard from it thus far. Next up, we have a Split EP. This is some more atmospheric black metal. Go figure. This is Eldamar and Dreams of Nature with their Split. I believe it's just titled Split. It's Eldamar, Dreams of Nature. The Eldamar part of this Split, definitely my favorite. It's just one 11-minute track, but I absolutely love Eldamar. They can do little to no wrong in my eyes. The Dreams of Nature is pretty strong as well. This EP opened my eyes to Dreams of Nature because I hadn't followed the band very much leading up to this EP. I bought it because I loved Eldamar, and I fell in love with Dreams of Nature in the process. Next up, we have one that's arguably not metal at all, more of a hard rock release, and I can't argue with that. I somewhat agree. This is mainly on here for nostalgia. That's what led me to check this album out. It's gotten pretty heavy rotation. I wasn't super keen on it my first listen or so, but it's definitely grown on me quite a bit, and it's definitely stayed in steady rotation. This is a Life of Agony with a place of no more pain. Sorry. A place where there's no more pain. There, I got choked up, and yeah. If you're looking for the old Life of Agony sound, there are glimpses of that in this, but not prevalent. After Keith became Mina, the vocal delivery has changed a bit. Still, the ideas and a bit of I don't even know the right way to put this. The vocal delivery has changed, but you could still tell that Caputo is there. I don't know if the hormone treatments possibly have changed the vocal delivery, but I've absolutely loved it now. Like I said, I wasn't super big on it the first listen or two, and then I found the songs being catchy enough that they were sticking in my head, and then I was like, well, I'll go back and spin it again, and now it's been in a pretty steady rotation within my truck. I just leave it in the stereo most of the time. That's on Napalm Records. Like I said, these will all be linked up in the description, so check them out. Next up, we have Pagan black metal, I guess is how you would describe this. This is out of New Hampshire, so that's kind of weird. Pagan black metal out of New Hampshire here in the U.S. This is Bjorn's Hall with Mountain Hymns. This is another release from Nature Productions or Nature Mock Productions. They're having a pretty strong year. I've been definitely impressed with the stuff that this label has been putting out. There's some others that have been on my radar, and I definitely am going to spend a little bit more time with. This is if you're into I guess later era Bathory, there's definitely a lot of later Bathory influence within Mountain Hymns. The pagan elements are definitely there. They're all over this album. So if you're not so much into the pagan black metal scene, you may not enjoy this. This is one that I was drawn by the name. I was drawn by the artwork. Checked it out, and I loved it. Next up, we're going to leave the black metal behind for a little bit for one album. And this is the newest release, I guess the sophomore effort from Heisenberg. This is the Empire Business. Brutal death metal. Great follow-up to their self-title. Absolutely love this one. I can't say enough good things about that either. Definitely check that one out. Check out the link in the description. Give them some support. I know they just released, I believe, vinyl editions of this album as well for you record collectors. Not for me, but definitely a worthwhile investment if you are into collecting records. The last one that I'm going to show in this video is some more atmospheric black metal. Quickly, which black metal, I would always said that doom metal and even death metal were probably my favorite two genres in metal, subgenres of metal. But black metal lately has definitely been taking over. I've been listening to a lot more. There's so much going on within black metal that it appears to me to be the most innovative, I guess, at the moment. You have so much experimentation going on within black metal. It's definitely become one of the, I guess, the more popular subgenre of metal. You have a super saturation of atmospheric black metal. There's so many bands out there making this. The post-black, even black gaze. A lot of bands begin to sound just like each other. There's some clones that just like I said, they sound identical. You couldn't tell them apart. And when you find a band that stands on their own, as some of these do that I've shown in this video, it's definitely more intriguing and definitely more memorable listen. And I find myself, well, with those, when I find some originality within atmospheric black metal, that definitely piques my interest, and I find it more impressive, and I definitely appreciate it more, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this is, I believe, an Italian band. This is Enisum with their release Seasons of Desolation. This is on Avant-Garde Music, and I love this. I love their previous release, Arpitanian Lands, and this is just more of the same, and phenomenal release. That's all that I have that I pulled off the shelf for this video. I didn't want it to go just super long, although I've rambled and taken it longer than I potentially wanted this video to go. I will put links in the description so you guys can check some of these out just in case you've missed them along the way. Also, hit the comments up and tell me what I need to check out. Obviously, everyone's going to have an opinion. And if there's something that you feel like I'm missing from 2017 and I need to check out, definitely let me know, because I would love to check that out. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. Stay classy, stay metal. I will see you soon, I promise. I will try to do an update at some point. I have Lonnie's Lucky Dip I need to do. lot I need to do, and I just haven't had the time or the just I guess the will to do it. So I'm glad I got this video made. Hit the comments up, and I will see you guys soon.